Hey everyone, welcome again to another 360 Timmy. Today we're at St Nectan's Glen in Tintagel Cornwall, and today my special guest is Jori Aylett.
Hello.
Jori is an actor, a recording artist, a musician, a poet, and what were you saying earlier?
A real life person.
A real life person, that's it. So let's have a walk around this beautiful place and find all about you.
Yeah.
That's,
good luck.
Yeah, good luck. This could be a very good outtake here as I try and cross this stepping stones of this beautiful place. So Jori, when I first came across you, we were filming a music video for your track in London.
We were.
And I remember you telling me that though it was rap we were doing, you weren't really into that culture, and you had a completely different outlook on life.
Well, I respect the culture of rap. I think it's misunderstood. However, I like to treat rap as almost a poetry medium. I think that the focus on the lyricism really gives a great opportunity to speak your mind and express yourself directly. And yeah, I don't think I'm really in any form of culture or life. I've always been very disconnected from all of that. I've grown up in Cornwall, which is very disconnected from the rest of the world. And I'd like to feel I'm disconnected with culture, but connected with the world.
You did describe yourself as a modern day hippie.
Yeah, I think that's probably the description that people would grip best. I wouldn't say I'm a hippie. I'd say the hippie's got a lot of stuff right and a lot of stuff wrong, like everyone. But I think it's the most similar to how I view myself and the world around me.
So you are very chilled. That was the first thing I picked up on.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even chilled. I just enjoy everything. Even if it's not noticeably enjoyable. I mean, the reason that you don't enjoy it is because you don't notice it. Like, look at these ferns. Look how cool they are. Look, right? It's a fractal pattern. So, a big fern, and then a little fern, and then a smaller fern, and then a smaller fern. It just goes on forever. I mean, people don't stop and notice that sort of thing, but that's what I love.
Your eyes are more wide open.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's just interesting and cool and beautiful.
So do you think it's the upbringing in Cornwall that's given you that kind of outlook on life?
I think that, and also my parents. My mum and dad are very much. Thank you. My mum and dad are very much hippies. If you saw my dad, you'd say, "Yep, he's a hippie." My mum maybe not so much, but I've been brought up with all sorts of different cultures to the west as well. So ever since I was little, we've been going. Thank you. It's a heavy gate.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Ever since I'm little, we've been going to a yoga ashram up in Wales. And I've just been exposed to all sorts of different types of concepts and way people live their lives. So I've had the luxury of choosing.
And with that kind of background, you're actually offering assistance to other people in your videos?
Yeah, I like to. I mean, it's as much assistance as anyone can give, I feel. I mean, I'm not you, you're not me, or so we think. And because of that, it's hard to give advice to everyone, but I think I'd like to... My main thing is I'd like to give a rest to people who are so caught up in everyday life, not as a experience, but as a hassle and a stress. It doesn't have to be. Especially with, short form content, even though that's what I'm on, and I do. It seems to actually negatively affect people's lives rather than positively. You give them an escape.
That's very much a thing of your generation, isn't it? Because of the phones, the social media.
Well, I mean, how long has it been? Like 5 years, 6 years since it was introduced?
Yeah.
By TikTok. And ever since then, it's been quite scary seeing from a third-person perspective and first-person perspective how it can affect your life. I mean, so on my phone, right, Tim, I've got 2 layers of protection against it because it's so addictive. I have to use social media as a tool, but even then you get sucked into that short form kind of thing. So I've got a password My password is...
I love it.
Every time I type my password, I have to answer that to myself. And I must admit, the first time I put it on there, I found myself at least 8-9 times a day going on there just because I could go on there. Not for any purpose or reason, not using it. Just using it as a way to, well, give myself entertainment, I suppose. And then the other layer of protection I have is if you click my off button 3 times on my iPhone, it goes black and white. And the reason for that is, obviously through our evolution, we've developed the ability to see and notice colour.
Yeah.
And that's because of food and resources. So, you know, if you think about an apple or a banana, it's a completely, totally different colour to... Well, this is a nice little spot.
Yeah, let's stay here for a little bit, and because we're not getting you in frame, are we, or seeing you? So
it's a completely different colour to everything else around you. So you notice that colour, and that colour actually spikes certain receptors in your brain and makes you go, "I want it."
Yeah.
And they do the same thing with apps. So you'll notice that, you know, the notification thing is red, and the interface is different colours. And there is literally a whole team of people at these software developers whose job it is to make the exact colour to get you involved in it.
Yeah.
And by turning off that colour, everything just seems a bit more flat, and you're not like, it's not grabbing out at you.
Yeah.
And you can kind of regulate it more.
But so even as you see it as a threat, you still can't get away from the temptation without having to do that, though.
Well, you can, sure, but it's a lot harder. It just makes it easier. I mean, a lot of it is willpower and just not trying actively to not be involved in it, and that's where the most of it comes from. But those 2 things are just a help, you know, to get yourself away from it. And it's so weird, you know, TikTok is really not reality, Instagram is really not reality, and I'm sure we're all familiar with that.
Yeah.
But we let it, because we've got such simple nervous systems and brains, we're not evolved for this. Technology is evolving faster than we are, so instead of us being able to use it as a tool, it's now using us as a tool.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you felt the same on
absolutely,
a similar experience.
Yeah, but also, I mean, as you know, you make videos to help people, so you use it as a tool for other people as well. It's a poison chalice, isn't it? It's perhaps it's like being let into a chocolate shop.
Yeah.
You know, if it's untethered, you just eat everything and get sick of it, wouldn't you? And then the novelty will wear off, and it becomes a challenge, I guess.
Well, I think it's a very similar thing for everything around us. Everything that we have created as a species is a tool. And it can be used for good, and it can be used for bad. It's just how you use it. The difference with these kind of things, when AI starts getting involved and algorithms become a thing, is they actively start trying to use you.
Yeah. Which
is terrifying and a very dystopian statement, but it's the closest I can get to describing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's carry on walking down. We'll try and stay as close as we can, because
sure,
there's lots of people come out the path, isn't there?
This is going to be interesting.
It's a beautiful location, but it's a bit difficult to navigate around it without falling in the river. Or but I guess what kind of age did this all click in for you and start to make sense?
So I think this is going to be a recurring thing for most people. Over the 2 years we had of COVID,
yeah, I
was in secondary school.
So what age would you have been at that point?
That's a very good question. 15, 16.
So you were that generation with the exams?
No, I wasn't. I was the only year. I was the first year to not have any sort of help or I don't know what you call
in classroom, kind of. Yeah.
Not in classroom. Sure, I had help, but like you know, like some years had their predicted grades given.
Yes.
And stuff. I was the first one without that sort of help from any sort of institution.
Yeah.
But I was still heavily affected, and my learning was by COVID. And it was in that sort of 2-year period where I had a very hard time with stuff, and I started going back to the things that my mum and dad had shown me in my earlier years, and kind of applying them for myself and using them as a tool. And I discovered my love for, you know, Eastern philosophy and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think COVID was a real catalyst for change of people.
Yeah, because they go on about it being negative, don't they? But
well, I think
in other aspects, I suppose it's a bit like having a harvest in a field, isn't it? Where you burn off the the chaff left behind, and then the green shoots come. You have to go through that pain to renew, don't you?
Well, there's a great story again from Eastern philosophy. I can't remember particularly which school of thought, but it's called Maybe Good, Maybe Bad. And there's a farmer who lives in a little village somewhere, and one day, he uses horses. One day, his horse legs break, and he's stuck now. And all of the village people come around and they say, "I'm so sorry, that's so terrible. How are we going to get our food?" And the farmer just looks at him and goes, "Maybe good, maybe bad." So the next day, his son goes out to fix the horses, and he fixes the horses. But whilst he's doing that, he hurts the horse a little bit, and it kicks and breaks his leg. So the horse is fixed now, which is good because now the townspeople have food. But now his son's leg's broken. And that's a terrible thing. So that the village people come around and say, "I'm so glad the horses is fixed and we can get our food, cool. But now your son's leg's broken. That's terrible. I'm so sorry." And he says, "Maybe good, maybe bad." The next day, the army comes knocking and says, "Conscription. We want your son." "Sorry, I can't. He's broken his leg." And the townspeople cut, and it goes on and on and on and on. So, yeah, I think we can look at it as a bad experience or a good way. It's change, is what it is.
So would you say at the age you're at now that you can fully deal with most stressful situations and keep yourself away from it? You talked earlier about, I thought it was great actually, you were discussing about overthinking. I'm an overthinker.
Yes.
And we're at a waterfall. Give us what you were talking about earlier.
That's a very good segue. So I was saying how waterfalls and rivers are very, very good analogies for our mind. Whatever you put in its path or try to stop it with or try to coax it one way, it'll go where it's going, and it's going to keep on going whether you notice it or you're there with it or not. And the good thing about that is a decision we have as the creatures we are is what we focus on. So we can decide to focus on this absolute war going on in our minds about whether we should or shouldn't. But that's going to come to the same conclusion anyway. You'll notice that quite often when you're overthinking about something, you spend so long playing out the logic, which is just completely infinite. There's no way you can have a good idea.
Every scenario, yeah.
We spend so long playing out the logic, and then when it comes to it, we make a split-second decision. So it's like, what was the point of all that? You know what I mean? So, yeah, what we can control is our focus and what we focus on. So we could either stand in the stream and watch that all going on, which can be quite good fun, or we could step out of it and we could notice the sounds around us, or we could notice how we feel, how our body feels in connection to the world, or we could notice our breath even. We could notice the incoming and outcoming, and that's, again, a double bind. You might notice, sometimes it's quite annoying, people go, "Ha, you're breathing." And everyone goes, "Oh, for God's sake, I've got to manually breathe now." But you can get to a point where you don't have to notice that you're manually breathing, and you can just observe it from almost a third-person perspective and watch that breath coming in and out. And that's what we call meditation. So, exactly that. I don't think you said I'm able to deal with all stressful situations.
Yeah.
I'm a human.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, just like everyone else.
What I mean by that is that I talk about your generation. I mean, I'm not particularly talking about this generation here and now. I'm talking about the age you're at.
Sure.
Young adults, and the world's still a bit of a mystery, and there's a bit of testosterone going around. You go out to the pub and people get a little bit angry, or they get very offended. And
sure.
How do you, as controlled as you are, how do you help your friends when you see them in those kind of situations, as an example?
By giving them this sort of advice, and just, you must trust the universe. You've got no choice to not trust the universe, but we like to grapple with that a lot, and I've just explained the thing. All decisions are, the variables in them are infinite. There's no way we can have a good decision. So you must trust the universe as almost another, as you would, and you must kind of go to it, okay, what do you got for me? And instead of worrying about where it's going to take you, enjoy what it's got for you in this moment, in the now. So, yeah, in those situations, it might just be a idea to disconnect and kind of feel into what's happening in this moment. Because quite often, we worry ourselves into a stick now when nothing bad's happening. It's only that moment of decision that we really have to contend with, and even then, something's going to happen either way. And that's not to say completely discard what's going on. You know, there's some schools of thought that go, you know, like the stone Buddha, where they just completely disregard reality, and they push out all of experience, and they just become this thing that is not noticing anything. You can go up and tap them on the shoulder, they won't notice.
Yeah.
Now there's something to be said for that, but I don't think that's quite useful. Do you know what I mean? What is useful is doing what you need to do and having what you have now, and being fully involved in that, but also at the same time not worrying about any of the external things.
It does sound idyllic, doesn't it? Being a stone Buddha, just shutting yourself off and total relaxation.
Apart from it sounding completely and utterly boring.
Well, yes, I guess there's that as well. So how long in a day do you meditate and for? What are your techniques?
Well, you know, I'd like to say I am, you know, I wake up and I do this much and I do that, and you know, it's all very structured, but I'll be totally honest with you, I just make sure I have around half an hour a day to be with myself, and whether that I want to do that as a hard practice, like something like Kundalini yoga or pranayama, you know, when that's breath work.
Yeah.
Or just being here and now and appreciating things around me. So this walk could be a meditation.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to. We like to think of meditation as you must sit cross-legged, just how everyone else does it. You know, meditation can be, for instance, Charlie. You know Charlie.
Yeah.
I was talking to them.
Our mutual friend, for the point of view from the audience.
Him about this, and he was saying, well, I don't think I meditate, but I think I you know, in the traditional sense. But every bus journey that I have,
yeah,
I just take that moment to kind of just look at the things around me and enjoy them.
That's
and I was
true.
like, well, that is meditation.
Yeah, that is true. No, it's true, isn't it? Yeah. Even driving's the same actually.
Exactly.
Long journeys, and especially around here with the scenery you've got, you certainly escape, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I mentioned when I first met you, you were working on your music.
Yes.
So how did that start?
Right. So, like most things, it just started with mucking about. We had music. I was in music GCSE, and I've always been interested in music. You know, from a young age, I've been a drummer. That was my first instrument, and I taught myself that up to grade 8, drums. And then I was a bass player, and I've been in all sorts of bands, but it was kind of a point in my life where GCSEs were getting busy. I had to get my head down, so I wasn't in a band, I wasn't in anything like that, and I was just messing around in lesson with my mate Jacob, and I was like, oh, do you want to come around mine after college? And we're like, yeah. And eventually, you know, we all liked rap music at that point, but we were just like, let's mess around and put some bars in it. And I had GarageBand as a free software on my Mac.
Yeah.
And we just recorded some
Great tool, isn't it?
That's amazing, yeah. Literally just wrote some lyrics and put them on a track. And then we started doing that a little bit more and more, and then we got more confident, and I can't remember whether it was me or him who said it first, but why don't we release it on, like, you know, SoundCloud and see what people think? It's like a little bit of a joke. And we did that, and the reception was, obviously, it's a secondary school, people are going to take the mic.
Yeah.
But the reception we got from a lot of people was, this is actually quite good. You know, we like it. So from that point on, we were kind of like, cool, we like doing it. Other people like listening to it. Let's do it. And we just kind of built our craft up from there, if you like.
I mean, what I was impressed with is I had we were planning to do a shoot, and I listened to the track in advance, working with Charlie, and I slowed it down and took notes. I just couldn't believe how much was in there.
Yeah.
You buried in there that comes out very quickly, but also that when we went on location, you could very quickly pick up where in the song you had to sing that.
Sure.
And just do it flawlessly. I mean, I think even we turned the camera on you on the tube very randomly, without warning, and you just
picked it up
straight away. I mean, I was really impressed with that. I can't even remember my own name sometimes.
Yeah, well, it comes down
Thank
to
you.
Something I enjoy about poetry and rap is it really gets me into a zone which people call flow state.
Yeah.
Right. You know, it's there's so many different names for it, but in the West we call it flow state. And you if you're interested in entrepreneurialism or anything like that, you'll have heard of flow state, and that's kind of the zone of work you want to be in when you're working.
Yeah.
And what flow state illustrates to me is we don't actually know where our ideas come from. They just kind of come up like hiccups. And you know, anyone who's an expert in anything will tell you when they're being an expert at something, they don't think about it. They just do it.
Yeah.
And rap forces you to do that because there's so many different words and things that go together. It forces you into that little flow state. And yeah, it just happens. You know, you don't think about it at all.
It was quite an inspiring day for me because there was you, the artist, flawless with the verses.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
The whole look you had because you designed your own clothes.
Yeah.
And Charlie with his composition and the both of you were featuring brutalism.
Yeah.
We went to several locations. God, I never would have seen it. And what we cracked in a day quite a bit, didn't we? We really did travel.
It was busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't stop to eat until 8 o'clock in the evening. And
But we did
at
it.
8 a.m.
We did it. I mean, it's just really impressive. So I was just really impressed with that kind of collaboration. So we were talking on the way here that you're going to do a bit like the pop groups used to do. You're going to go to a.
It's still very much in the works, but I so want to do it because it was so much fun. It'll be beautiful, creative collaboration. So the idea is, I found it's actually in Kent.
Oh, is it?
One of them that I was looking at.
Yes, I think I know where you mean actually, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an Airbnb that sleeps about 14 people.
Yeah.
And within the Airbnb itself, there is a studio which you're free to use. And you know, if you've watched the Queen movie, you'll know that they did that on an island just off from here, actually, isn't it? Or is it near Scotland? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But basically, it's just a place where you can go and be creative. And it looks really cool. So the plan is to get anyone who's ever featured on one of my tracks or been interested in my music or, you know, I know by extension, in that place for a few days where we can craft the final piece of my music and just put it out there. And you know, music will always be a part of my life, but it's kind of taken a back burner for me. So that's kind of like a fitting end for me for that side of my life.
But you're also talking about using it to spark others' creation.
So the person who I was talking about, who has been with me from the start of my rap journey, Jacob, or 90 is his performance name, has a lot of talent in writing. And I really want to use that as an opportunity to get his career out there because, you know, for a long time I thought, do I really want to be a musician? And it's come up that I don't. But I think, in a way, I've been put here to help other people get into that because Jacob, you know, we wouldn't have got into it without each other.
Yeah.
So I really highly suggest that anyone listening to this go and listens to 90s music when he's got some more stuff out there, which will be after this summer. So. Yeah.
We'll put the links out for that as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so actually, the very fact I met you on that shoot day and we're here doing this today and some of your own stuff,
sure,
again, shows that collaboration thing.
It's weird, isn't it? And
with creators.
I feel like we were talking about this as well. Creators are so divided in an age where they really don't need to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got this tool, social media, what we were talking about, and it's great for collaboration. And it seems that creative people are more divided than ever, which is counterintuitive. But if we can use that to get together, amazing things like this happen.
Yeah.
And that collaboration kind of just spirals and helps you in your broader career, I feel like.
So you're at the start of your career, so what's next for you? So you're at your second year into college next year.
Yeah.
What are you studying?
So it's got a very fancy name. A diploma in production and performative arts. It's just drama, really, and they teach you a little bit about how to, produce a show and get grants for things.
Yeah, the whole craft of
which is really
performance.
Good.
Yeah,
I really like the idea that it's a course focused towards propelling you into an industry.
Yeah.
Rather than giving you the information which you'll then later apply. And that's been so good. It's an amazing course. Calywith has this is Calywith College in Bodmin. Amazing resources. Amazing course leaders helping me towards that. So I think the likelihood is next year, after all of this, I will apply to a drama school.
Yeah.
And whether I get in or not, whether I go forwards with that or not, I will also be doing these videos because this is what I've kind of boiled myself down to, using lots of Eastern concepts. What I want to do in this world is enjoy it, ponder what I'm interested in, what my brain goes, whoa, that's really cool, whilst also helping people and relaying that information. And I think social media, again, as much as we badmouthed it, it's given us a great tool for that.
Yes, yeah.
There's so many people now who are experts at something, who've gone, okay, I'm an expert at this thing. I can condense what I know into a course and sell it. And that's helped so many people around the globe, you know, and it's just giving us the means to connect information together and learn it, which is amazing. So yeah, it's, as I say, it's a tool.
Well, I can't wait to see where you end up.
Me neither.
I suspect if I recorded this 2 months from now, there'll be another bit of news. I mean, you just said you've been doing podcasts for the local radio.
Yep.
As well.
So yeah, that's been great fun. I kind of
for Radio X.
Yeah, for Radio X. I'm doing 2 things for them. I'm doing theatre reviews. So if you've got a theatre show, I can review it. But also I just love going there and experiencing, you know, the talent of people and writing about it. And so the most recent one I did was Her Green Health, which is, I watched it at the theatre in Plymouth, which is, what's it called? I've completely forgotten. But yeah, it was an amazing production, which was an hour-long monologue of an adaptation of a real-life story, which was this girl whose mum and dad were botanists and studying the Amazon rainforest, and her plane crashed there. But it was about how she was the sole survivor and how she survived. And the acting, the script learning, the writing was amazing. You wouldn't expect an hour-long monologue to entertain a room full of people to the point where after the show had finished, they all started talking to each other about it.
Yeah.
You know? So that was an amazing piece of work, and yeah, so I do reviews on that side, and also I've got a podcast on Radio X called Southwest Sounds, which is kind of, you know, we're talking about collaboration. It's giving local artists from the southwest of the UK a platform to share their music to a wide audience of people, and also just to explore the question, why do we like music? Why do we like a bunch of sounds put together? So yeah, that's been really good fun too. And a big thanks to Paul and you for getting me the contact almost, you know.
Oh yes, because this was a very strange, we bumped into the managing director of Radio X on the South Bank, who I knew, and
while we were
that, again from that, yeah, I didn't think of that.
It's one of those.
That's crazy,
things.
Isn't it?
But yeah, big thank you to you and Paul for giving me that opportunity.
Well, more Paul.
Yeah.
I happened to be there. That's all that was. But
he's kind of helped guide me through it, because obviously when I started, I had no clue how to make a radio show. I was just, you know, like, I've got the tools, but no clue.
Yeah.
But big thanks to Paul to guiding me through it, and it's really nice to see Radio X kind of taking local people who want to do this thing for the future on, rather than going to, you know, someone who's already established in the industry and going, hey, do you want to do this?
Yeah.
You know,
I know. I very much picked that vibe up from. Yeah, that is amazing, isn't it? So, well, quite a career ahead of you. I'm sure this isn't the first time you'll be on this podcast, but for today, thank you, Jori. It's been amazing. We've had quite a workout as well.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I haven't noticed. We're here now.
Yeah.
We're at the exit. Amazing.
But thanks, and you all have a super day.
Yeah.